This feels incredible.
Huh?
This feels incredible.
That's it. Yeah. Yeah, I just finished putting that intonation in place and everything. You know, I think it feels good. Yeah, I like the action like that. I don't know. It feels right.
It
The only
does.
thing I thought about was a little bit on the E string. I wasn't sure, but I think they'll probably just settle down. You know, it seems to be okay. Yesterday I couldn't control it at all, but today it, you
Yeah.
know, that's you know. And you're not that far away. You know, it isn't like
No, if
you
it
know,
needs.
you can bring it back or send it down in a minute. You know, that it's not nothing. It's nothing. It's just like small stuff. You know?
Yeah.
And it's all brand new. So you know, I had this thing home. I took it home last night.
Yeah.
Lots of times I just take them home when they're in that almost final condition. You know, like while I'm watching the John Wayne movie or something. You know, I put the bass up against it, and I can see things that I wouldn't see here because
yeah.
I'm surrounded by
Different
it
light.
here. You know,
Yeah.
Right.
everything, the bandsaws and the sandpaper, all that. I'm here. You know, but when I'm at home, I'm just watching John Wayne head him off at the pass, you know, or whatever. You know, so I can just kind of look at it and see. Maybe I'll move that over there, or maybe I'll do this, or you know, little things like that. I can
Right.
see it through. But anyway, my wife saw it, and she. I took it out of the case. You know what she said right away? She says, it's an autumn bass. Look at the colors.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah,
sure.
definitely.
Oh, look at that. That's autumn. This is the autumn bass, folks. In the back, everything. The red neck, everything.
It's gorgeous.
And even the control plate, Pete made that. He's trying to match it up with the rest
Fits
of the
in.
stuff.
Oh, it's,
Yeah.
it's incredible.
This is a Paduke neck. I've made them before, but not a long time ago. I don't think I ever made a 6-string. I think I made a 4-string Paduke.
It feels
Oh yeah, that's
great.
a really solid piece of wood.
Yeah, there's some Paduke on the other
Oh
bass
yeah,
that I have from you.
yeah. I don't remember that. Yeah, okay. Well, yeah, but this is and the Macassar ebony fingerboard. You know, you're set.
Yeah, that's really something.
And I forgot that I took the truss rod out because I'd cover off because I was playing around with it this morning. Pete did a little number on that too. I didn't even know he was gonna. I came in the other day.
Wait till you see.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
That's
so
cool.
cool.
Yeah, they I mean, you know, that I mean, I started it all, you know, but these guys, they just,
You have
Hey.
assembled a talented crew around you.
huh?
You have assembled a talented crew
Oh, yeah,
around
right,
you.
and you just kind of, you know, like every time I look at the very first base, it's kind of raggedy looking compared to all this stuff, you know. But, you know, like Pete, he says, Carl, it had to start somewhere, you know. It just, you know, the first, like I said about the word no, you know, no is a really good word, man, you know, because if I had said yes on the first base,
Right.
where would I be? I'd be still making the crap like that. No, not crap, but it
Not
wasn't
crap, but
It wasn't.
you never would have evolved.
No, I never would have got here. I tell, like, you know, even I have a couple of students that come in, and they get a little bit crazy sometimes. I say, look, where do you think you would be, right? They stayed with me like for a couple of years. Where do you think you would be if every time you came in here, I said, oh, that's wonderful. Oh, yeah. Oh, no problem. No, that's great. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Solid, man. You know. Yeah. Where do you think you would be? Yeah.
Right. Right.
I mean, I'm not going to be nasty to you. I'm not going to be evil, but I'm not going to sit there and BS you with a bunch of stuff like that just so your mother will like you or whatever. You know, I'm not going to do that. You know,
Yeah.
Right.
it has to be.
That's how you progress. That's how you.
Yeah, well, you finding that out at school with all the guys that are doing it, I'm sure. Yeah. Like I said, when I was I told your dad when I first went with Billy Ward and the Dominoes, that was my schooling. I never went to school, but I went when I was on the road.
Right.
And I played all those gigs in Pittsburgh with my friends, and they were all good musicians. They played weddings, they did like all regular stuff. And then I got to Hollywood, California, and my first rehearsal with Billy Ward and the Dominoes and those guys, I went, oh, jeez. Oh, what am
Yeah,
I
it
doing?
happens.
This is a whole other way. I had no idea it was like that, you know, but it was.
Yeah,
And it
yeah.
stayed like that.
Yeah.
And it stayed like that. I'm 71 years old, and it's still like that.
Oh yeah. And it will always be like that. There's
Well, good for you.
every time you look up, look around, you remember. There's no
That makes
end.
it good. People say, you know, I think I'm a good teacher because I do remember, you know, I remember what it was like to struggle. I mean, I still struggle with it, of course, but I'm just saying, you know, to pick up the instrument and not be able to finger things right, and then your hands get all tangled up. You know, well, of course that's going to happen, but, you know, you got to stay with it.
Yeah.
You got to keep doing it every day. When I was on the road, like I told you before, I mean, I don't do it now, but my technique right now on the bass is probably better than it is on the guitar. But at one time, I was practicing 5 and 6 hours a day and playing 6 and 7 nights a week. That's all I did. You know, I'd wake up in the morning and it was music all day. Nothing, no band saws, no chisels, none of that stuff. You know, no accountants calling me up and saying, "Hey, you're overdrawing the bank," or none of that stuff. None of that. You know.
Reality intrudes.
Oh yeah. It's like I told you that story about that reality of that kid that came down from Berkeley.
Right.
I don't know if I ever told Miles that. It was a kid. That's a while ago. I don't even remember his name. It's not even important. But he had a master's degree in composition, and he had guitar, and he played great. He had all kinds of chops and flying around.
Yeah.
But he had a big time attitude too. And he had heard about me, and he thought maybe he'd like to study with me for a little bit. You know, and he came in, and I picked up his attitude right away, and I just knew, well, why don't we play a song? I said, I'll play the bass, and you play the guitar, and maybe I can help you, maybe I can't. You know. And I said, why don't we play Satin Doll? It's an easy song, 2/5, you know. I think he was 22, 23 years old. I don't know. He said, oh, I played that song all the time. I don't want to play that anymore. I said, well, you couldn't have played it as many times as I have. Well, you just humor me. Well, you know, we'll just make it easy on everybody. You know. So I started to count the tempo. And while I was counting the tempo, I said, that's in the key of A. You play the melody at the bridge. We'll start there. And he looked at me like, it's in the key of C. I said, no, it's in the key of A now. And then he was trying to challenge me. He was getting ready to say, well, could you do that? He was getting ready to sack his hymn. So, and before he got that out, I went, right on the money, you know. And he's just, you know what I called that? Like I told your dad, I called that was a lesson in reality.
Yeah.
Because that's what it is. You know.
Yeah, definitely.
You never know who you're talking to. And not only that, you shouldn't do the thing, no matter what. You shouldn't be that way.
In
But
anything.
you can really get in trouble.
Yeah, in
Some
anything.
In
of these
anything.
guys will burn you.
Right.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I was being very nice to him. Yeah. He got up on the bandstand and pulled that shit. Some of those guys would actually eat him alive, you know. Oh, I thought you said you could play. Well, let's find out. Maybe you want to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shit.
That's true.
Oh yeah, that's it. Play something a little bit.
Man.
Yeah, anything that you have on the video, you could send to
It's all yours.
Joe or I'll give you Dave
Yeah.
O'Connor.
Yeah. And I'll shoot something with yours too.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever you want.
Oh man. A lot more strings than I'm used to.
Yeah, wouldn't. I mean, I know everybody says, Carl, you know all those chords, and so why don't you play a 16 bass? I said, I have enough trouble playing chords. Even though I made the very first 16, I never had any desire to play one.
Really?
No. 5 strings, no. That's it.
That's interesting. I've wondered about that because he's been very excited about this.
Stanley's like that. Stanley, he don't play. He doesn't want to know about any of that.
4 is enough.
That's enough. I talked to Stanley a lot about that. He said, no. This is enough for me to deal with. Yeah, that guy's really a bass player, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's something to think about there. The last time I saw Stanley was a couple of years, maybe, I don't know, I get a lot of his track of time, maybe 2 years, was out in Long Island, that theater they all perform at. I can't think what it is.
Is
Doesn't
it
matter.
Coliseum or something? Nassau Coliseum?
No, it was a smaller place than that, but it's a place that's pretty well known. I just can't come up. It doesn't matter. Anyway, he and Victor Wooten and Marcus Miller were doing that, that thing they do
Yeah.
together,
Nice combination.
And I called
Thumbs.
Stanley up and I told him that I wanted to come. He said, "Oh yeah, sure." So I got to get me and Pete and And I said, "Hey Stanley, I still have that very first bass I made." And Stanley was around when I made that bass. And he says, "You still have that girl?" I says, "Yeah." I says, "If you wouldn't mind, Stanley, I'd like to bring it along tonight, and maybe you could sign it for me. Let me hang out a little bit." And he said, "Oh, sure, yeah, I'd be honored, yeah." So I had him sign it, and Victor signed it, and then Marcus, they all. But the thing I was going to tell you was they did the show, the first half of the show, and then they had an intermission, and that's when we went backstage.
Right.
They were only off the bandstand, not even 5 minutes. The time it took them to put their instruments down and then wash their hands and go into the dressing room or wherever the little lounge place where they were hanging out. And we walked in the door. Stanley was sitting on the couch with a bass in his hand. Marcus Miller was over there with a bass in his hand, and Victor was here, and they were all going da 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 da, and all this. That's the fact.
It's what they
I
do.
tell people that, I said, that's what it is. You think it just happens? It ain't gonna happen. I know guys who are really geniuses, great musicians, and they work at it every day, They have all kinds of. Look at Stan Getz, man. Stan Getz had so many gifts going into the game. He was born with absolute perfect pitch.
Yeah.
Photographic mind. The guy could look. They say he could look at a chart and memorize it like it was like that. He would walk away and have the whole thing. It's like he prints it out almost. And then he had this, a thing for rhythms. He could just imitate any rhythm that you put in front of him. They say Max Roach used to try to because Max was a master of all that polyrhythmic thing that he would, and Jesper just tap it back to him on the horn, he was there. And get up every day and practice. Still doing it. Getz had it, from what I understand, he had some rather serious problems, but that's another.
It's another story.
But music.